We have Joey with us here today, and I'm super excited to chat with you because he actually has his own allergy app as well. So, if you could just start off by telling me a little bit more about your app and who you're trying to help, that would be awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So our app is called EpiCenter. EpiCenter is a platform that's available on iOS, Android, and web. So the app started out with this idea of trying to help people find the resources they need, whether you are managing, in the middle of an allergic reaction, worst case scenario, or just on a day-to-day basis, navigating life with food allergies. So during a crisis, the app is able to call 911, locate the nearest hospital, let you connect with that hospital directly. You're able to send a text message alert to 30 emergency contacts with your live GPS location so they can help you. And then depending on if you are traveling, you have the ability to display a medical ID with your name, allergens, and phone number of your emergency contact, or a translated message in 50 languages, thanks to a partnership we have with Equal Eats. And then kind of like a day-to-day basis, we have some really great blogs, podcasts submitted from the community, as well as a allergy-friendly shop online. We work with about 20 different manufacturers in the industry that make very certified nut-free, peanut-free, top 8 free different goods, and you're able to order them all through one platform and save when you order through EpiCenter.
Yeah, I absolutely love that because 1 in 3 people go to the hospital due to allergies. So that's so important to have a resource that is accessible to everyone, especially internationally, because I know that's a huge issue. So can you talk about your allergies and how you were diagnosed?
Yeah, so I was first diagnosed when I was 8 months old. My parents accidentally or unknowingly gave me a little bit of M&M ice cream. And I started having early symptoms of anaphylaxis. They took me to the hospital, and then I was later diagnosed with peanut and tree nut food allergy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super young. I was diagnosed at 8, but you don't know anything.
No. Which I mean, I never knew anything else besides that. It was always growing up with allergies.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what was it like to eat out for you growing up with an anaphylactic food allergy?
So it was, there's certainly some challenges. One of the things I'm always really thankful for was that my parents, from the minute I could speak, they would make sure that I was the one telling the waiter or waitress, hi, here are my allergies. I can't have peanuts or tree nuts. I could die. And we had a rehearsed speech out where I would break down just how severe it was. And it was good. I didn't realize at the time, but they were really helping me kind of advocate for myself. So that was helpful. But then still, you have to stay away from, any old. I don't think I've ever ordered dessert other than maybe ice cream at restaurants. That's it. Like I say, very far away from that. So you have to really restrict yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you usually cherry pick the menu or do you just advocate for yourself with the waiter? How trusting are you in that process?
So I guess it depends. I mean, the fact that it's peanuts and tree nuts, there's certain items that I can go in kind of with certain assumptions in mind and then look to validate with the waiter or waitress. So for example, I'm a carnivore. I'll go for, the biggest steak or chicken on the menu typically, knowing that they're rarely made with my allergen to begin with.
Right.
So I'll order that with maybe vegetables on the side. So pretty simple ingredients. And then I'll explain I have a peanut and tree nut food allergy. Can you make sure that there's no cross contamination? If you're on a grill, do you make anything with, if I'm ordering breakfast, for example, if it's a crepes restaurant, do you make it in the section, if I'm ordering an omelet, are you making crepes with Nutella next to it?
Right.
Can you make sure to wash the surface? So depending on what I'm ordering, I'll be a little more specific about some of the things, because at this point I'm aware of what the red flag items are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for restaurants that I guess aren't or have a lot of tree nuts and peanuts possibly present in their facility, how long would you say that process takes you to go through all of the cross contact procedures?
Uh, I probably would stay away from that restaurant.
Okay.
I would be I would be really yeah. So it's I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll avoid it if I think there's a more a higher likelihood of cross contact. One thing when you asked about eating out, we'll go to the same restaurants.
Got
We have
it.
a pretty nice sized list. We're not super limited, but we'll go to repeat places because they know us, we know them, and kind of roughly what to expect. So that's really comforting. Even when we travel, we'll look for chains.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very common thing with people with
Yeah.
allergies. So I totally understand that. So obviously, with our platform, we are working on making these resources a bit more accessible from, offering dedicated nut-free
Mhm.
facilities to actually working with the restaurants to create menus that have nut-free options actually listed on it. So given that there are a ton of restaurants that don't like advertise as nut-free facility, but they might actually just really have no nuts in house, how do you think having access to that type of information would change your eating out experience?
I think I would venture out more if I knew what restaurant procedures were. I mean, the reason we don't venture out is because we want to go where the evil
Right.
So if we had more understanding of what restaurants did and were capable of handling going in, we would probably try a lot more of the local places when we travel around. Be great. I mean, you see so many foods on the line. There's so much variety out there that I know I haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
I love food, so I would love to experience more and
Yeah.
really broaden my horizons.
Cool. Is there anything else that you would like to touch on for people that have been diagnosed at a young age or struggle with eating out themselves?
I think really the biggest thing is if you're just diagnosed, or if you're a parent of someone that's your child was just diagnosed, advocate early and often. It gets easier over time. I think that's the biggest thing. And once you learn to do it for yourself, other people will kind of join in with you. When you grow up, that was always something too. I always had friends that would advocate for me as well because I was comfortable enough to do it for myself, which makes it a lot easier.
Definitely helps when you have people around you that support you. My
Yeah.
friend had an anaphylactic nut allergy as well. And since I had
Mm.
celiac, I was always like, don't put nuts near her. Like, don't do it. So,
Oh, see, that's the best because then I or your friend, like, you never have to ask, but
yeah.
you don't have to bear the burden on your own. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely fun when we went out to restaurants together, though. Took like at least
Nice.
30 minutes to order because like she went through hers, then I went through mine. We were like, people probably hate us. Like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
That's great.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And your app is awesome. So everybody should definitely go check it out because it will make it much, much safer to eat out and, get access to emergency information.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course.